What up? 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 Good evening, everybody. Happy New Year's Eve to all. SamAnt, CEO of Viral Hip Hop News. We are live on this beautiful Saturday evening for another artist spotlight. We got a very dope artist that we are about to show you guys this evening. But you know how we do, man. Hit that like button as you guys entered the room. Share the video. We love to do this for independent artists, independent entrepreneurs. It's artist spotlight. You know how we do on Saturday evenings. I love doing this. You know what I mean? It kind of gives me a different transition from the hustle and bustle of the podcast and talking hip hop news with all these celebrities and all this wild shit out here. I get to get back to the grassroots and talk to independent artists, talk to independent entrepreneurs who are doing it from the ground up, man, and hear their story and hear their music or video or view their product, whatever the case may be, man. It's my way to give back to the people who give so much to me and help this platform out, man. So as you guys come in, drop them area codes. Let me know where you're listening. Let's show some love to my man, Emcee K Ski in the building, who's about to come on and give his story and share some of his dope ass music, man. But as we conclude 2022, God damn how fast this year went, man. I can remember sitting there last year, or this time last year with COVID, not even thinking about a goddamn ball dropping at midnight. I just wanted to get over COVID. You know what I'm saying? Couldn't smell a damn thing. I just got my smell back about maybe no bullshit, like 7 days ago from having COVID last year. So all in all, it's been an incredible year. 2022 has its ups and has its down. We ended on a very, very strong note. You guys had Viral Hip Hop News on absolute fire. And for that, I appreciate y'all, man. So thank you. Keep sharing the videos. Keep doing the damn thing. And we're going to take Viral Hip Hop News to another level in 2023. 2023, absolutely. Damn, that's even crazy to say, 2023, man. But 37211, salute to you, man. Keep dropping them area codes, dropping them zip codes as we get our brother in the building. Let's get him up in here. Emcee K Ski, what up with you, family?
Peace. What's up? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing beautiful, man. I'm happy to have you on here. I'm happy for you to come on and share a little bit of your time on this New Year's Eve. 2023 is vastly approaching. We're about 5 hours away here on the East Coast, man. So how you feeling, brother? How's everything? How's 2022 been? How you feeling, man, going into the last day of this year?
Feeling good, man. Feeling good. Released a couple of projects this year. Did some shows around Vancouver, letting the crowd know, I still got it. And lost some weight. I lost about 40, 50 pounds over the year.
Okay.
So, feeling good, man. Alhamdulillah. Thank you, first and foremost, man. Thank you for this platform, giving artists the opportunity to tell their stories and display their music, present their art, rather.
Nah, man, the pleasure is all mine. Like I said, it's my small way of giving back to what people give me on a daily basis, which is showing this platform nothing but support, man. So I'm happy to be able to do it. I'm happy you reached out to me and you trust my platform to give a little bit of your story, who you are, and share your music with my people, man. Shout out to April Bound in the building. Happy New Year's. I love you too. Philip Barian, salute to you. Charles Wilson, salute to you. As you guys drop the comments, I'll salute you guys as well, because like I said, I definitely appreciate y'all, man. So let's get to it, man. Let's get to know a little bit more about you, brother. Where you from? Talk about your humble beginnings. Talk about how your location and where you're from kind of molded you and who you are today.
Okay. I was born by the river. I was born in Wilmington, North Carolina, but I was raised in Trenton, New Jersey. Okay. So are y'all from Jersey? Are y'all based in Jersey?
South Jersey. So we right outside of Atlantic City.
Okay. So I feel like this is a homecoming.
Absolutely.
So I was raised in Jersey and I went to high school in Pennsylvania, right across the bridge from Trenton. And I got in, like most kids, my age back then, we got into hip hop. And once I started hearing Run DMC, LL Cool J, that was a wrap. I was in the culture. I wanted to be an MC, and it's funny because it was like I think Slick Rick, Lottie Dottie. That's when I started counting bars. Okay. You know what I mean? I copied what he said, and I was counting how he was doing it and stuff, and just started getting into it. And in high school, in Mooresville, Pennsylvania, shout out to my AD Rockers MVP. We just had a group, AD Rockers. We did music, and then me and my man DJ Busy J, we had a record deal when I was graduating high school. When I was graduating high school, I had a record deal on the table, and I had interest in college basketball, small college, because I was nice on the court. You know,
Okay.
me and my man, shout out to my man Choo Choo. We was all city back in '87 outside of in Pennsylvania, right outside of Philly. And but had the record deal. I was only 17, and my mom wouldn't sign the contract.
Wow.
You know, because we talking '87. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So
Yeah, different.
my mom was like, "What's this hip hop stuff?" and da da
Right.
da. So I went. She did sign a contract for me to go to the Navy. So I guess she felt the military was safer than Jersey. But so I went. So I went to the Navy, and it's funny because when you're in boot camp, you put down you have a dream sheet, and on your dream sheet you put down where you want to be stationed at after boot camp. So
Okay.
you know me being from Jersey, I'm like, yo, I want to be Jersey, New York, Philly, Virginia, even Maine. I was like, I go to Maine. You know, I just wanted to be
Right.
on the East
East Coast.
Coast.
Yeah.
Man, they sent me far east, man. My first duty station was in Japan.
Oh
So
shit. Woo. Damn.
so in '88, I was stationed on USS Midway CB-41 out in Yokosuka, Japan. I couldn't even say it. I was like, "What's Yokosuka?" But it's Yokosuka, Japan. And but that fire, that passion to MC was still there. So just picture a 19-year-old at the bottom of the ship writing rhymes, listening to Public Enemy, Poor Righteous Teachers, KRS-One, BDP. So that became my class. That became, you know, when I talk about the legacy of being the true MC, you know, spitting truth to power. Even though there was all lanes, you know, I love the Heavy D's and everything, the Rakims, Big Daddy Kane's, but it was the Public Enemies and BDP, Poor Righteous Teachers that would have me like, oh, what they say? I'm going up to the ship library. I'm going through the books, reading this information. So it was critical thinking that they were promoting at that time. And then also at that time, I became Muslim. I converted to Islam at 20 years old, which was back in 1990 on an aircraft carrier. It's a little spooky because I was the type that was going around the ship holding debates.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And during the war, because we were sent to the first Gulf War in '91. So here I am at 21 years old on the ship, and I'm talking against the war. I'm sitting there questioning the war. I done wrote congressmen. I'm sitting there questioning, you know, theology and stuff. So I should say my mom was real scared. Put it this way, she was like, "Oh my goodness, my baby, he gonna come up missing." But you know, it was just part of my journey. So like when my mom went and signed the record deal in high school, her thing was, "Well, you 17 years old. You need to go out and build your testimony. You know what I mean? You need to experience life." Because at that time, all I knew was Jersey, New York, Philly.
Right.
You go down to Carolina doing, you know, in the summers, you know, Virginia, DC. So I had to expand my horizon. So you know, I went to a masjid in Tokyo. I saw Muslims of all different backgrounds. As a matter of fact, my man who taught me Islam, a brother named Kareem Shabazz from Brooklyn, New York, you know, just guidance. You know what I mean? One thing I want to put throughout my story is what they call providence. You know what I mean? Some people say God's hand or the divine hand, because just like I said, some things we have free will is in our power, but
Right.
some things are out of our control. You know what I'm saying? So just like me, I had the free will to put down all the East Coast where I wanted to be stationed at, but I got shipped to Japan.
Right.
But that's when, man, I was doing shows over in Japan. I was still killing it on the basketball court. I was one of the nicest over there, you know, at that time. It was just this it's part of my testimony. You know, as I tell my testimony, it's funny because I'm just telling my story. It's not bragging or anything.
Right.
It's just real. And I know people that's tapping in that know me from back then, they witnesses, and not only witnesses, but there's documentation. There's studio recordings of me at 16, 17 years old that my boy Busy J got. There's documentary of me in my 20s rapping. Once I got stationed in Hawaii, I started the group called Lost Tribe. So this is like 95, 96. You know, and we started a group called Lost Tribe. I was still doing music while I was in the Navy, you know, and we was doing our thing over in Hawaii. Again, 95, 96. The name of the group was Lost Tribe because I was always on top. Because hip hop back then,
Right.
we were getting knowledge itself. We were getting knowledge that countered what they was telling us. You
Yeah.
know, and I don't know, back then I think it was more balanced. Yeah, you had your street stuff, you had your party, but you also had conscience.
Yeah.
You know, so it was more balanced. Whereas now it seemed like all the other stuff is being shut out and only one genre of hip hop is being amplified.
You know, you said so many things and you got so many questions running through my head. I want to put a pin in hip hop then compared to hip hop now, right? I want to come back to that, but I want to make a point to talk about that. But in the meantime, I want to talk about you going from Trenton. Like you said, all you knew back then was Jersey. You knew New York, you knew Philly, and then down in the summertime and stuff, you go down with the fam to Carolina. I'm younger than you. Back in '87, I was 5 years old. I was born in '83. But when you say my mom was born in DC. My dad was born up in Ocean County, so he was born Lakewood, Toms River area out there. So I had that New York connection. I had the down south connection, but I'm sitting in Jersey, and you see how all of those things are kind of similar, and how us as Black people, we really don't get to venture out and see different types of places and see different types of cultures. So when you go overseas and you see Japan as a brother from Trenton and just kind of really experiencing the East Coast, what did that do for you, not only as a person, but musically? How did that kind of change your thinking process on how you even moved out here? Did it change it?
Well, even when I was in Trenton, when I moved across the bridge to Mooresville, Pennsylvania, now Trenton was just straight Blacks and Puerto Ricans.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then moving across the bridge to Mooresville, Pennsylvania, it was more, you had white people. But
Right.
it's funny because in the apartment complex, it was working class people. So
Right.
it'd be Black, white, Puerto Rican, Jamaican, you know, just all different. So going to that high school was predominantly white. That was my first culture shock.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Coming from Trenton, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and going there, and it's like, oh my goodness. But again, I saw things that countered the things that I were being told. You know, there were white people that had money. There were white people that were poor. There were white people that were middle class. You know what I mean? So it wasn't because, you know, growing up in Trenton, it was like, oh my goodness, they live so better across the tracks, you know, because
Right.
that's what, you know, what was it? Different Strokes. That type of stuff was on TV. So it was like, yo, that's life. And but yeah, we moved across there. That was the first culture shock. But yeah, when I went to Japan, it was crazy because in my mind, you know, kung fu, you know, flicks and stuff like that, I'm thinking I'm going to see Japanese people in their traditional garb.
Right.
Man, I saw dudes with jeans. I saw dreadlocks. I was like, oh, hold on, what's going on here?
Wow.
And so even then, I saw hip hop embraced over there. You know what I mean? Like we would be in the club, and it's crazy because we helped introduce hip hop over in Japan. That group of guys that came over there in the late 80s. We had the high top fades and stuff, and it's funny because we couldn't even leave the boat with our head at a certain height. So we had to mash it down so we can get off the ship. And then once we get off the ship, we picking it up. I had the steps in my stuff, you know what I'm saying? So, but it was the culture. We go to the club, we doing the kid and play kick steps. We look behind us, and Japanese are doing the same thing we doing. You know what I mean? And at that time, it seemed like there was love for the culture. It was something new and authentic. And so it just broadened my horizon. And again, my writing started to change. When I was in high school, my writing, my voice, and I tell this to any artist, the most important thing is finding your voice, your purpose. You know what I mean? So back then in high school, 1 minute I'm sounding like MC Shan, next minute I'm sounding like LL Cool J or Run DMC. I got the rock, you know, Melly Mel. So, but once I was on the ship and I'm listening to KRS-One, Rakim, and all them, that consciousness, because again, I'm going up to the library, I'm reading the Quran, I'm in the bottom of the ship with music, the Quran, books. Some of the books that changed my outlook on things is definitely the autobiography of Malcolm X. was life changing, alhamdulillah. And also Democracy for the Few, none call it Conspiracy. Just a lot of books that was up there that was, you know, expanding my consciousness along with the music. So I was
Right.
I started putting this into my bars, into my music. So my music started being more conscious, because we talking 91, 92, you know, and then in Hawaii, Wu-Tang, Nas, this was that era.
Yeah.
So I'm 24, 25 years old with a group of cats from New York, DC, Atlanta, Arkansas, Indiana, you know what I mean? So we created this collective called Lost Tribe, and we was doing shows over there. And again, the music was still that conscious stuff.
Yeah.
You know, was that conscious. And then I had to leave Hawaii. I was still in the Navy. I served 12 years in the Navy, and I had to be stationed in Seattle.
Okay.
And when I left, I was married. I got married in Hawaii, had our first kid, and went to Seattle, still in the Navy. When I got out the Navy in '99, I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and get on this music again. You know, because I was still doing it in the Navy. Now I
Right.
didn't have those restraints.
Right. Now you
So
talk about 87 to 99. That was a hell of a change in music. We've seen so much happen. We've seen the shift of more conscious music to more of the gangster rap
yeah,
style of hip hop. Even though back in 99, I still think we had a level of music that was still, in our eyes, deemed to a high level. You know what I mean? But it was more being introduced of a different type of style. And then you said something that really kind of drew to me is when you equated hip hop to and consciousness to books and reading. Nowadays, these youngsters equate hip hop and music to social media and jumping on the phone. It wants to make them get on the phone or do something completely different than go ahead and reading a book and elevating their mind and their consciousness. Talk about that part. Talk about the shift in music when you got back into it in 99 and now continuing to get into it 22, 23 years later, how
yeah,
it shifted so much.
yeah. So when I got the Navy in '99, like I said, I was like, you know what? I'm in Seattle. Let me just go ahead and do it. I didn't know how it would be received because I was the East Coast. You know, my whole flow and stuff was East Coast. I was straight up kind of Wu-Tang, and but I found the underground scene in Seattle was dope. It was a lot of hip hop heads out there. I was embraced, and I met up with a guy named Ty Gonti, and we did a song called "Portrait of an MC" in 2001, and it got picked up on a record label. No, it got picked up on a movie, a soundtrack called All or Nothing,
Mm,
and that All or Nothing independent. It had like people like Master P on there, Sibo, and you know, it was crazy because my Portrait of an MC was totally different song than all the other songs on there. All the other songs was kind of street gangster. My stuff was just about talking about life and the challenges we face. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And keeping that integrity as an MC.
right.
You know, so that was in 2001. That led me to 2002 when I put out an independent EP called The Legacy. And my boy, my boy who was part of Lost Tribe, my man Smith, Jean Baptiste. He's from Long Island. He's down in Miami now. He did all the music. We recorded some of it in Seattle. Some of it was recorded in Jamaica, Queens, and we released that in 2002. And because of that, I got picked up to an independent label.
Mm,
I signed an independent label in 2002. I dropped an album in 2003 called The Coldest Winter, and I got Artist of the Year in Seattle, Hip Hop Artist of the Year.
dope.
My song was on the radio station. And so when you talk about that, the shift. So when I signed with the independent record label, shout out to Matthew Wong for Mad Passion. Um, he we agreed that he would give me some leeway to put the music that I want to put out. But I understood it was a business, you know what I mean? And my mindset at that time was like, okay, I got to put candy. I got to put medicine in the candy. So I was also too trying to serve two masters. I was like, you know, one song I'm dropping some knowledge, but the next song I'm up in the club. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to
Right.
serve two masters, but you know, we did our thing. We was killing it around the city, And we recorded another project called Still Movement. We was going to release that in 2004. I had some labels looking at me because we were doing our thing. But I stepped back. You know, by that time I had 3 kids with my wife. We were going through our separation, and you know, life came in.
Right. Yep.
And I just had to step back, spend time, because when you're doing independent, you're doing everything. You
Yep.
know what I mean? You know, I was calling people, setting up shows, setting up, you know, driving, you know, changing, you know, taking out the trash, everything. You're doing everything independently, you know. Right. And the thing is that yes, it takes a lot of work, but it's so important because as you go through this process, you know what it takes to do this job. So when you're in a position where you had the resources and you can hire somebody, you know, okay, I know what it takes to do this job. You know, so you get that enlightenment when you go through that process.
Right. Absolutely.
So I did all that, and I just took a break to raise my kids, and you know, had to get my life together. You know, being divorced, you know, going through a divorce, went through bankruptcy, and I worked at the bankruptcy court. You know what I mean? But because that's the thing too with my mom, she was always like, okay, you got basketball, you got music, but what's your backup plan?
Right.
You know what I mean? So I've always had a job. I've always worked while I was pursuing my music. Whether it was me in the Navy or when I got out the Navy, I was working at the bankruptcy court and I'm doing shows. I'm funding my own dream, you know. And but once we separated, you know, I went ahead, got my own place, and I started grinding. Me and my crew. Shout out to TJ, Joe, Kruma, Big Rob, a lot of cats that was in the Navy with me. My last duty station was the Abraham Lincoln, and a lot of cats stayed in the Seattle area. And they all knew. That's the thing. Anybody that know me from since I was 16, they was like, Kev can ball, Kev can rap. You know what I mean? He's into scriptures, you know. That's why, and he's a hard worker. Supply chain. I've been doing supply chain for over 30 years, you know. So, you know, we were just doing our thing in Seattle. Took that break, got things together, fell in love with a Canadian, you know, and started moving slowly up to Vancouver. I live in Vancouver now, me and my wife.
Dope.
And, you know, and true story, when my first trip in Vancouver was in 1999. And I met Aaliyah, rest in peace, at an ATM machine.
Damn.
So from that moment, her and her brother, and again, I got people that can corroborate this because they was there with me. My man Pierre Ford, because he didn't think it was Aaliyah, and I was like, nah, bro, that's Aaliyah. Right. So I approached. I was like, yo, excuse me, but are you Aaliyah? And she just laughed and like, yeah, and you know, just really, she just seemed like a nice person. You know what I mean? I heard DMX, rest in peace, was up in Vancouver at that time. You know what I mean? Doing his thing, but so yeah, so since then, Vancouver was just, first of all, the Northwest is just a beautiful place. It's greenery, you know what I mean? Just a beautiful place. Vancouver, very beautiful place. And again, the music scene, so much talent out here. A lot of hip hop heads out here. I remember talking to some young cats, and when I say hip hop heads, they talking digging in the crates. They talking duck down. They talking hip hop,
Right?
Not surface stuff. So I was like, okay. So you know, again, around 2000, even though I was with my wife, who's my girlfriend back in 2004, we were dating in 2004. We got married in 2014.
Okay.
You know, because after 10 years, I was like, okay, you stuck with me. You can't get rid of me. And my mom was like, you stuck with him. You gotta keep him. And so I was like, you know what? My kid's a little older. Let me get back into the music. You know what I mean? Because I was always still writing. But it's like, okay, what am I going to say when I get back out there? So over these past couple of years, I've kind of accepted the role of an elder statesman of the culture. And I saw the shift, which boggled my mind, because it was like, well, conscious music isn't selling. That's why there was the shift. That's what the narrative was.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it was like, well, some of the biggest acts were the Fugees, Arrested Development, Public Enemy. It was conscious music. You know what I mean? But it seemed like the narrative got co-opted and started shifting where one particular music was being played. That's another reason why I kind of stepped back, because you know my black man antenna, you know what I mean, my conspiracy brother antenna went up, and I'm like, okay, the music is shifting. And then this was right around 9/11 too, when that
Okay.
happened.
Yeah.
When you go back to my coldest winter project, I break a bunch of stuff down. So again, I had that consciousness, but I was still trying to appease the lower self. I was
Mhm.
still the club, because I want to be popular. I want to be, but after I took that step back, it's like, you know what? I'm not trying to serve two masters now. You know what I mean? God brought me through what I went through. I know I have this gift, so now I'm gonna use it for what's right and exact. You know what I mean?
Word. I was gonna ask you what, like, because during that transition, life hit you, and I can attest to that too. Being in the music game and then having life hit you, and you kind of having to take a step back from the business and deal with life, and then the shift and the change that's going on musically and the things that are being promoted. If it's kind of against the grain of what you believe in and who it is that you truly are, when it comes to music, it kind of makes you fall out of love with it. And then you add the business side of it to music. There's a lot of factors that can go into it throughout the journey that can make you fall out of love with it. And then you kind
Yeah.
of briefly kind of got into why you decided to get back into music. But what was that initial spark? Was it moving out to Vancouver and getting like just peace of mind? Was it something that you may have seen that kind of changed your mind? Like, you know what? Yes, I am an elder statesman now in this game, but I do have a voice, and it still is important for me to get my message out. When was that shift in your mindset to go, you know what? I got to get back into this shit.
Like I said, around 2014, I was still again writing rhymes. Um, One of the jobs I worked at, I was inventory manager of a warehouse and
Okay.
purchasing manager. And some of the standard operating procedures, I put it in rhyme form for the guys that worked on the floor, because there were a lot of young guys and they were all in hip hop. You know what I mean? So I would use hip hop to talk about supply chain principles.
Mm,
I'll put it in rhyme form. So, and cats were always, throughout my whole career, people was like, Cat, what are you doing? Why are you not signed to a major record label? And me personally, I always, because I ain't selling my soul. That's you know what I
yeah.
mean?
I feel you though. I feel you. I feel you, bro. I feel you. Like, go ahead. I feel you.
Because again, like I said, when I was on the Lincoln, I was that conspiracy brother. Like, dudes were telling cats, don't talk to Cab because he on some other stuff. You know what I mean? Because I was challenged. I had one dude tell me, he was a Christian brother. He was like, bro, I had a dream. I was talking to Jesus, and Jesus said you going to hell. So
Whoa.
I was like, did Jesus look like the Jesus you have on them pictures? Because that ain't Jesus, that European.
Mm, 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 mm.
so again, I was being schooled by older cats on the boat, and one brother, he was a Black Panther, was schooling me. They took me under their wing and they started schooling me. So I was putting that into music. So again, when I approached the music industry, all this is in my soul. So when I
Right.
came back, I'm thinking about COINTELPRO. I'm thinking about when J. Edgar Hoover said that we're gonna give them their leaders. So I'm thinking about, okay, they trying to compromise people, because money can be a manipulation tool.
100%.
You know what I mean? Not all money is good money, so you have to be careful with these deals, because it's not just about the money, it's about control of the voice, especially if you've been gifted with a certain talent that you can spark something in people.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? AKA Pac.
Yeah.
So they gonna try to come at you to neutralize that. So this is what I'm thinking about as I try to navigate back in. And I was always about independent. Even when we was Lost Tribe back in Hawaii,
Right.
me and my boys, we put together a business plan. We was gonna open a clothing store in Hawaii. You know what I mean? Because I saw the clothing stores at the mall in Hawaii, and I'm like, first of all, they charging all these prices, which I understand because the overhead in the mall was so crazy. But I'm like, damn, they ain't even from the culture. They just, you know what I mean? They just making money off the culture. So I was like, okay, we can set up a store right across the street in the strip mall, lower overhead, so we can, have a little savings to the customer. But we're from the culture. We know what the kids want, because we're part of that culture.
Right.
So at 24 years old, I'm putting business plans together with my boys. Matter of fact, one of my boys, Tavares Silver, he has a basketball camp in Hawaii. He took that business plan that we did back in '95 dusted off,
Mm.
made some changes, and he started his business, his basketball business, his training camp, his basketball camp with that business plan. So this is where our head was, because again, this was hip hop. We were told, let's build our own. And even now when I look back and I see over the years how much money we generated, hip hop culture is generated. But where are our factories in the hood? Where are our factories that produce these products, that design, engineer, manufacture, and produce these products?
Right.
You know, we were used to sell other people's product, but we never created an economy, you know. And again, because of that, we lost control over that voice.
Right.
So it started being changed to go somewhere else with it. They remixed it and bounced it and flipped it on some other.
Yeah, they did, and they took it and they ran with it. Because now the shit is out of, I don't want to say it's out of control, but it's out of control, for lack of a better term. At least what they're promoting, at least that's what they're showing. It's showing absolute chaos within the culture, and I'm glad that we have platforms to where we can kind of change the narrative. You feel me? Platforms are very important, and not just mine, not just my cousins, not just ours collectively, but platforms that just allow people to tell their truth and give a different narrative than what these mainstream outlets, black, white, whatever the case may be, how they're promoting the culture. It needs to be a balance, because right now the balance is they're going to show the most fucked up stuff, pardon my language, from us, and display it and show that this is what and who these people are, and it could be further from the truth. So I appreciate people like you and other people who continue to try to keep positive energy, positive reinforcement, not throughout hip hop only, but throughout the culture as well. And this is right now, I think, a perfect segue to get to some of your music.
Yep.
We got 3 dope tracks that we're about to play and listen to right now from Emcee K Ski. Can't wait to play it. Now, we're going to be on his YouTube platform right now. So as you guys listen, as you guys watch, you'll see his YouTube handle on the bottom of that. I need for you guys, as you watch live or as you catch it on the playback, to click the brother's channel. Go support it. Go drop a comment. Go hit the like button. All this shit is free of charge. If you're in here, let's support one another. Let's do the thing. So Family Creed, I'm going to play Family Creed first. Before I do, brother, do me a favor and give a little bit of information and context to exactly what came with the creation of Family Creed.
Well, Family Creed, we come this far by faith. That's my Family Creed, you know what I mean? And again, like I said, when I talk about God's providence, you know what I mean? I was born into the Frost family. I didn't have no choice on that. Right. You know what I mean? And it just so happened that family that I was born into, that's our family creed. We come this far by faith. So to me, my bars is a document of my journey towards self-discovery and enlightenment.
My man,
that's what these bars are about.
Without further ado, let's listen to Family Creed. Let me get this up. You guys, as you're listening, drop that thumbs up. Make sure you can hear it. All right, let's work.
Yeah, KD7 BC, reclaiming the legacy. Alhamdulillah. 4 corners, chocolate block. Yeah. 10-16, 69, I was brought into this physical. The same time the Mets pulled off a miracle. Down in Carolina, Wilmington to be precise. At the age of 19, Mama Frost gave life to a youngin', slung him on her back and left in a hurry. Relocated up north to a place called Jersey, West Trenton. Down the road from the monument. Was shooting hoops on Church Street, that's where my time was spent. See, this one, Spring Street, used to be the home base. My mom's praying that her son make it home safe. For crooked cops with gunshots, crews that run blocks. When crack hit the hood, that's when all the fun stopped. Genocide, orchestrated by the government, both sides complicit, Democrats and Republicans. Increase incarceration from policies adopted, communities destroyed while a certain few profit. But out of this destruction come parables of hope. In the face of so much hatred, too terrible to note, pain unbearable to cope, but the struggle we embrace, trusting in our Lord, cause we come this far by faith.
Emcee K Ski, the Family Creed Viral Hip Hop News. Go like, share, and subscribe to Emcee K Ski right now. As we conclude the family creed, man. When you talked about the Miracle Mets, bro, I can't even hold you. Let me get myself back on the screen. Let's get us back on the screen. Man, I'm a diehard Mets fan, man. And like I said, I was born in 83, so I'm not running around experiencing it full hand. I'm a little motherfucking diapers, but man, oh man, you took me back, man. Like, just you kind of relived my childhood, bro. So I definitely appreciate the bars. Clear, understanding, digestible bars. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
definitely appreciate that, man. And shout out to the people that are giving love. Keep showing love in the comment section. Let's give this brother the ultimate support. So right now, I want to transition into another song, and I believe you wanted me to play In the Moment, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to get that lined up for you right now. But while we do, won't you give a little backstory on In the Moment and how that came about?
Well, In the Moment, one of my favorite songs is Moment to Fear by Slick Rick. This was the moment to fear. You know what I mean? So I don't know, for some reason. Oh, first of all, shout out to Matt, my man Matt on the beat. He made the beat. You know, he gave me these beats, and man, I wrote these songs in like 2 days. You know what I mean? And so when I heard this track, the moment to fear came in my head, and I wanted to talk about bouncing back from bad decisions. You know what I mean? Like the Most High is most forgiving. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, he's most forgiving, most merciful. So I wanted to talk about, we're gonna make mistakes, but we bounce back. You know what I mean? You learn, the lessons are in those mistakes, you know, so you bounce back. Long as you take accountability. A lot of people don't want to take accountability.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mother be trying to dirk that accountability, you know what I mean? But nah, you if you make a decision, you gotta deal with those consequences. You know, and if you faithful, you know that there's lessons within those, you know, consequences. So that's what it's about. It's like, okay, I learned these lessons. Now I'm ready to bounce back. You know what I mean? So
let's do it without further ado. In the Moment, Emcee K Ski. You see his YouTube handle right there before I go full screen. Go jump over to his YouTube platform. Subscribe to his YouTube platform. Let's see them numbers start going up. Let's leave some comments in some of these videos, and let's show our support. Without further ado, let's work.
Young Manny cooking beat.
Yeah, this was the moment to fear. Consequences for my sins, now the moment is here. But retrospect gave me vision, so the moment is clear. Now righteousness is the square we building on. Yeah, this was the moment to fear. Consequences for my sins, now the moment is here. But retrospect gave me vision, so the moment is clear. Now righteousness is the square we building on. Yeah, it took a long road to get here. Trials and tribulation had me facing my fears. A bitter fruit from bad decisions we make. But some remain solid under pressure, while others just break from the weight when we carry around guilt and pain. Through the grace I recognize I ain't built the same. A different cloth from a fabric so rare. A true believer from the heart, so I'm fully aware of the stairway to heaven. But Kevin not a reverend. Jack and Mary had a few kids. My mom was number 7. Baby girl brought a kid up in this crazy world. As a teen, used to think that my rhymes could save the world, but reality taught me something else. I couldn't help others out if I couldn't help myself. Had to get my act together for the next stage. A total change in plans, even though they were best made. Yeah, this was the moment to fear. Consequences for my sins, now the moment is here. A retrospect gave me vision, so the moment is clear. Now righteousness is the square we building on. Yeah, this was the moment to fear. Consequences for my sins, now the moment is here. A retrospect gave me vision, so the moment is clear. Now righteousness is the square we building on. A grown man with my own hands, build a better life. See the Abraham who understand we gotta sacrifice to get something much better in return. These lessons so expensive, take a whole life to earn, to learn from the wisdom that guides the soul. Word from the one above to provide the code, to construct a conduct built on good intentions. The prophet spoke the truth. Instead, we wouldn't listen to our own detriment. Negligent of our state of being. Sickness of the heart and the soul, the state I'm seeing. Can't legislate goodwill or fix with a surgeon. Good or bad intentions, which one are you serving? I'm swerving potholes to drop flows in this composition. Even in the dark, light a spark from the intuition. Enlightenment for the path that's in front of me. Higher state of consciousness, the place that I want to be. Yeah, this was the moment to fear. Consequences for my sins, now the moment is here. A retrospect gave me vision, so the moment is clear. Now righteousness is the square we building on. Yeah, this was the moment to fear. Consequences for my sins, now the moment is here. A retrospect gave me vision, so the moment is clear. Now righteousness is the square we building on.
In the moment, Emcee K Ski. Let me stop this real quick. My bad, brother.
Hey, it's Dana from StreamYard.
Oh, there it is. There it is. As I'm sitting there listening to the music, and I've heard it obviously before we set this up prior to this. Let me get this up out of here too. Set that up prior to this interview. I've listened to it a few times, and one of the things that catch my eye is the album cover, Reclaiming the Legacy. Talk about that, brother, Reclaiming the Legacy, and why you named your album that.
So, like I said, in 2001, I released a project, independent EP called The Legacy, and this was again when I was trying to serve two masters. Even though I was doing good, music career-wise, personal life,
yeah,
going through a separation, bankruptcy, I was, was going through it. Right. So when 2022 came around, I'm like, 20 years, I'm still here, alhamdulillah. Okay, let me go ahead and do a 20-year anniversary. So Reclaiming the Legacy is about the legacy of emceeing. For me, true emceeing, edutainment, where you spit truth to power. That's the cloth I come from.
Right.
And I lost train of thought looking at the comment. But so yeah, what was the question again? So I was
asking about your album cover, Reclaiming the Legacy.
Oh yeah. So the legacy, again, the art of emceeing, but also legacy is when I look at our culture, African American or Black Americans, when you talk about the art of storytelling, you know what I mean, going all the way back to West Africa, the art of storytelling and how it came through North America. Even when you talk about slavery, those spirituals. Those some of those were lessons or directions or instructions, you know what I mean? So I look at it and I feel like hip hop is just the offspring of that. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that, and then the more deeper lesson of it is like on that track when I said the seed of Abraham, who understand we gotta sacrifice to get something much better in return. You know what I mean? So I'm taking it back to Abraham, who taught monotheism, who taught the belief in one God, which all the prophets and messengers taught. So that's what I'm on a deeper level when I talk about the legacy, reclaiming that legacy. There's only one creator. There's no brothers, no sisters, no sons, no daughters. You know what I mean? Like there's only one creator. We're not supposed to raise any of his creation up as a rival with the creator. You know what I mean? So that legacy on a deeper level, because one of my passions is theology. Again, this is the kid at the bottom of the ship, reading books,
reading books.
You know what I mean? And one thing I want to point out too, man, is that one thing I tell artists is tell your story. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with telling your story, but be careful about glorifying self-destruction, because then you're working for those dark forces. You know what I mean? Because even in scripture, the devil said, I'm going to teach them right from wrong. I'm going to show them what's wrong from right from wrong. You know what I mean? So it's deception. So yeah, again, tell your story. We all got dark chapters, you know what I mean? So tell, because it can help other people get through it. But when you start glorifying ignorance, death, then you have to be careful, because you're being used to destroy people's lives.
Right.
And I'm the type of person, again, we come this far by faith. I'm the type of person, I know that I'm going back to the creator, and I'm gonna have to give account for what I do in this life. in this temporary life.
Word.
You know what I mean? So I want artists to tell their story. So when I talk about, yeah, if you so like I come from Jersey, I come from dudes who was hustling. You know what I mean? So if that was part of your life, tell your story. Tell how you overcame that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Tell about the consequences
Right.
of that. Don't sit there and just straight up keep glorifying it, because these young kids are going to go out there and emulate that. Because when Run DMC had the leather pants, I had the leather pants. You know what I mean? When Roxanne Shante said, throwing the bomber so I can get loose. Matter of fact, it was the black goose. We got the gooses. You know what I mean? The felines. So they emulating this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so again, for me, what I was emulating was Public Enemy, Poor Righteous Teachers, Brand Nubian. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Now they giving certain things that emulate, and it's self-destructive, and we're normalizing it. We're saying, it's just okay. No, it's not okay.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, so I just want people, you know, when I say, you know, tell your story, but just be careful when you glorify. You come from a rough life, tell your story, but don't be out there misleading people, because then you working for Shaitan.
Talk about it. That's powerful, and that's the divide that we have to understand. It is okay to tell your story. We didn't all grow up with rose petals and tiptoeing through tulips and shit like that. Some people grew up rough, and it's okay to speak about how you grew up, on how your environment, how your culture raised you, but give a different perspective. We're not out here saying that this is the best thing in the world, and this is what the kid that may not have his parents paying attention to him, but may be on a good path, needs to hear to bring him even further down. We need to motivate people to bring him up, or that brother or sister that may have been living like you and seen and can understand the blueprint of what you're articulating, but know that there's a way out of that motherfucker. This is what we need to know. This is what we need to understand. So I couldn't agree more, brother. I appreciate you. One thing you also said that kind of is not even kind of, it definitely how it reflects our platform. You put the medicine in the candy. You know what I'm saying? And I've said that numerous times about the platform, because obviously people see how we do our quote unquote guerrilla type journalism, where we put the exposing and things like that. And we know and understand that putting certain titles and putting certain thumbnails up, people enjoy and like the drama. But as you click, assuming you're going to get drama, there's going to be some medicine within the body of that, that you take something away from, that you can go, damn, that was some real shit. So I really appreciate that in a day and age where we unfortunately gotta put the medicine in the candy, because don't nobody want to eat vegetables. We all want to eat the sweet shit. So.
Well, because we all addicted to that dopamine hit. You know what I mean? You know, it's just all about excitement, all about excitement, all about excitement. These false desires. Even again on script, the Shaitan said, I will create within them false desires.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so we get stuck on that. So, and it's funny because even like with my kids, I remember my kids, they just had to have the latest toy. The latest toy.
Right.
A month later, that toy up under the bed collecting dust. You know what I'm saying?
Up.
So now it's on to the next. And again, when you try to look for peace and contentment outside, externally, you're never gonna find it. You find it within, and that's from connecting with the Most High, understanding your purpose.
Indeed, man. We're in the building with Emcee K Ski on Vile Hip Hop News live this beautiful Saturday evening. New Year's Eve is in the building, and what better way to close the year out than grabbing some gems, grabbing some jewels, and hearing from an OG talking about the real, man. Before we get to the last song, Space, on the album, Reclaiming the Legacy. You can find it on his Emcee K Ski's YouTube platform. Go subscribe right now. Go share. Go support the brother right now. Before we get to the song, I want to ask you, because you gave me the order in which you wanted to play the music, why Space last, and talk about the creation of that song.
Well, Space is more like just me showing that the pen game's still nice. You know, I can drop jewels, but the pen game's still nice. And again, when my man Matt made the beat and I heard it, it was kind of trap, which, you know, normally I kind of stay away from. You know, I'm boom bap. I'm also doing some I got other projects that I'm doing where it's more like hip hop, blues, and funk. So, but boom bap is my zone. So when I heard the trap beat, I was like, okay, it's dope. What can I do? So I was like, okay, I want to show that I can rap over a trap beat and not say some ignorant stuff. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm talking about how nice I am with the pen, but I'm also talking about, you know, my upbringing, you know, and then my man Matt, who made the beat, his cousin named Truth, a dope MC. It's a lot of dope young MCs out here in Vancouver. You know, he got on the track, blessed it, and so that's why. And it seemed like more people gravitate to that, especially the younger.
Yeah.
You know, even when I went down to Carolina this past year, I was blessed to go down to Carolina, reconnect with my father's side of the family.
Right.
And just the response I got, shout out to my cousin Javon and them, and Pat G. You know, they doing their thing down there in Carolina. MCs, man. Again, it's just this tradition of MCs, and I just want to be able to try to get them guidance. We at a place now where they don't even want us giving guidance. You can't give guidance to the younger dudes. You know, they look at it as hating and this and that. But we come from, so when you hear me say chocolate block, I'm talking about Wilmington, North Carolina. And for me, chocolate block is, it takes a village to raise a kid. You know what I mean? So if you out there messing up on the street when I was growing up and people saw you, they was like, hey, I'm gonna whoop your ass, and then I'm gonna tell your grandparents, and they're gonna take care of you. You know, and it was all out of love to keep us in line, to keep us from, you know, and even when I got in high school, you know, and when I talk about like on the first track, when I talk about the crack epidemic, I remember being in Jersey where we had after school programs, where we had community center where we would ball, you know, and once Reaganomics, and it's how it trickle down, it trickle up. Once Reaganomics came and they shut all that down, then so you just got all these kids out in the street, and then you flooding the streets with crack and guns. You know what I'm saying? So, but I remember my man Gary and Fred, their father, rest in peace, he made a basketball court in his backyard to keep us playing ball and out the streets. Mama Eulery over in Mooresville, PA, when we were doing music. She let us, my boy Busy J, he turned the main bedroom into a studio. This is 86, 87, you know what I mean? Some of the equipment he got might have been acquired through other means, because, you know what I'm saying, we in the hood. But but you know, again, it was the village, the raisers. She did that to keep us from getting in more trouble. Right. Because we still getting in trouble, but for more trouble. Also, shout out to James Botley, Bud and Linda, rest in peace, Bud. They had a basement. They would throw house parties, you know, basement parties. We would go down there and work on our skills. So it gave us a refuge against all that stuff that was out there, the cracks, the guns, you know what I mean? Right. So that's what I mean when I said when I talk about chocolate block, I'm talking about that village to raise, and that's what I'm trying to do. Each one teach one. You know, these young kids, because like I said, I can talk and act like I'm young, but my kids always let me know, especially the middle one. He be like, Dad, you old. So, you know, that's like looking in the mirror right there. But so I'm like, okay, I have to. I always tell them I'm a young old head, but I want to be able to provide them guidance. Tell them, look, you know, this is what you're going to encounter. I'm just providing you guidance, and it's coming from a good place. It's coming from a good spot. It's coming from pure intentions.
Absolutely. We're going to get to the final song this evening by Emcee K Ski. You see his YouTube platform sitting there on the screen. Go support the brother, man. I'm not saying these numbers go up. Y'all got to be listening. Shit's better start going up when we get off this broadcast, man, because I want to show this man some support. Let's show him some love. Let's share some real music. Without further ado, let's get to the record space.
Yeah, we gonna have some fun on this one. Yo, I'm back like I never left, so you gotta give a brother space. So many rappers nowadays, but nobody that can take my place. Dope beats with the rhymes anytime that you see my face. Drop a flow, rock a show, then I leave without a trace. Yeah, I'm back like I never left, so you gotta give a brother space. So many rappers nowadays, but nobody that can take my place. Dope beats with the rhymes anytime that you see my face. Drop a flow, rock a show, then I leave with. You know what it is, I handle my biz, but really I guess I'm just stating the fact. From the era that's golden flows I'm controlling, so now I'm just taking it back. We're mad on the beat, K Ski with these bars. This is a whole different chemistry. Vibe we provide, you feel it inside. Got people all loving the energy. Locking the talent to challenge perception. Skills that be flexing, keeping them guessing. No matter complexion, we all on the same boat. Blood in the streets, you might need a raincoat in Van City, where they get busy. Skills that was spilled, got these kids feeling dizzy. Back on my grizzly, better say mine when it comes to these bars. I'm one of a kind, just a kid from Jersey. Got my hands a little dirty. Raised around a bunch of real cats that was 30. Doubted myself, thinking that I wasn't worthy. Gave my testimony, but I doubt that you heard me. Beats and my rhymes go together so superbly. Set my art apart when you sit and observe me. 7 years in the game, now at 30, I'm Jordan with a mic when I flow. They should go hang my jersey. Yo, I'm back like I never left, so you gotta give a brother space. So many rappers nowadays, but nobody that can take my place. Dope beats with the rhymes anytime that you see my face. Drop a flow, rock a show, then I leave without a trace. Yeah, I'm back like I never left, so you gotta give a brother space. So many rappers nowadays, but nobody that can take my place. Dope beats with the rhymes anytime that you see my face. Drop a flow, rock a show, then I leave without a
still the greatest, we're underrated, they love to hate it. Wait, give me the space, these motherfuckers are dumb and faded. I've been at a place, a man turn like the sun in Vegas. Please don't get it twisted, my brother, cause we are not related. Wait, I was shedding for the bloodline, now I cut the hustle, I was running from the one time. Back inside the valley from the city, get the sunshine. Good kid at the moment, say good to buck knives. Wait, and he's still flipping pegs. See my brother on the block, concrete with the cracks and cops that undercover, just criminals with a badge. Got a body spinning black and they dumping it in the trash. Wait. The world coated and never blood stains on the chain, stained gold in the treasure I don't hold for the weather. Rose of the feather, we know there ain't a moment that it's gonna be better unless you making it now. I ain't breaking it down for you stupid motherfuckers that wanna sing in the crowd, gon' sing, gon' drown. Let it space out of bounds, space is thinner than a chicken, they pulling the train pound weight cloud.
Yo, I'm back like I never left, so you gotta give a brother space. So many rappers nowadays, but nobody that can take my place. Dope beats with the rhymes anytime that you see my face. Drop a flow, rock a show, then I leave without a trace. Yeah, I'm back like I never left, so you gotta give a brother space. So many rappers nowadays, but nobody that can take my place. Dope beats with the rhymes anytime that you see my face. Drop a flow, rock a show, then I leave without a trace.
Yes, Space by Emcee K Ski on Viral Hip Hop News. We're in the building. Let me get us back in there, man. As we conclude this dope interview, another artist spotlight is in the books. The final artist spotlight of 2022. And what better way to finish it off than to grabbing jewels and to understand and get to know my man a little bit better. Emcee K Ski in the building, man. Before we get up out of here, brother, definitely appreciate you sharing your music, sharing your story. I didn't know what to expect. I always look forward to these interviews, and I always find a piece or a gem that I take away from each and every one of them. And for you to sit back and to hear your journey from Trenton, New Jersey, to moving to PA, to tell your mom telling you that it's safer to go overseas and to go to the military than sign a record deal at 17, to going from Japan to Hawaii, from going up to the ups of getting or going into the military, the divorce, to getting back into just the whole journey, man, the full circle journey that you put us on this last hour, man. I definitely appreciate you. I appreciate your candidness and your honesty and sharing it with the platform. Before we get up out of here, man, I'm going to shut my mouth. I'm going to give you the floor. Whatever you want to tell to the people, whatever you want to say, the floor is yours, brother. Again, thank you.
Thank you, man. And again, I just want people to check out the music. Like I said, these bars are a documentation of my journey towards self-discovery and enlightenment. You know what I mean? And got some projects that I'm working for 2023. Shout out to my man Maxie Talbot. We got beats, blues, and bars. That's hip hop, blues, funk. You know, I call that music that I do contemporary Negro spirituals. You know, and I'm just going to do some more boom bap. I got some dope beat makers, man. You know, this past year was a blessing, building a good infrastructure, a good network, you know, of artists that I can build with and create a canvas and finish telling my story before I throw up the deuces and, you know, take a step back. So I just, before I, you know, hit that victory lap, I just want to, you know, you go through life, man. I'm just taking these jewels that I learned, and then just putting it in these bars, man, to be like, okay, here's some guidance. You know what I mean? And that's what not only my mission, but just what I promised the Most High when I made a covenant with the Most High, that I was going to use the gift that He gave me to call people to a better understanding of the Most High, and also spit truth to power. You know, like I said, my mom, she was worried about me on the boat. You know what I mean, on the ship, like, he gonna come up missing. Even to this day, she like, if they come up to my door, I'm gonna tell them I don't know you. And I'm like, you know what I mean? But it's we have to do something. We have to save these babies, man. We have to tell the truth. And when you talk about conspiracy, that's the reason why so many people go down those conspiracy dark holes, because we're not getting the truth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not from mainstream sources, or
Right.
is diluted, or they done mixed it. And so again, platforms like you and other, man, that I listen to, so we can get that information and the counter that false and, you know, the lies and the BS. You know, and hopefully we get more artists that also spit truth to power, because again, that's the art of emceeing that I fell in love with. You know, and I'm so grateful, you know, that I had artists like KRS-One, Rakim, you know, Chuck D, Brand Nubian, X Clan, you know, Poor Righteous Teachers, these cats to put that consciousness out there. And, you know, I took that, ran to the library. You know, now they got information on their phone. You know what I mean? I know the smartphone is only as smart as the person working it, but if you seeking knowledge, you got it at your fingertips. You know, you do have to be careful, because there's so much information out there.
Right. Yeah, overload.
Yeah, but that's what all it is, man. Just using my music, man, just to try to provide some guidance, man. And you know, I learned a few lessons, knocking my head up against the wall. I'm putting it in these bars for other people, you know, before I ride off into the sunset.
Indeed. Don't ride off just yet, brother. You still got some work to do in this game, man. And we definitely appreciate you, Emcee K Ski, on Viral Hip Hop News. Hey, man, do me a favor. Before we get out of here, stick around in the green, because I want to talk to you behind the scenes real quick as I shut it down. But I appreciate your time, brother. Go please support the brother's music. If you haven't subscribed to his platform, go back on the back end. Go find him on YouTube, Emcee K Ski. You just heard 3 of his songs. Go like the songs. Go share the songs. Go support the brother and his message. We appreciate you, man. Till next time, man. Stay up, bro.
All right. Peace.
You take it easy. Another artist spotlight is in the books. Definitely appreciate each and every one of y'all who stuck around and watched, stuck around and supported and engaged in the conversation. Hey, if you want to watch and listen to more artist spotlights, I have a playlist of all the artist spotlights I've done throughout the year. It's been an incredible year of seeing different people, listening to different music, watching and visualizing and seeing different products come onto the platform. It's been an absolute honor. If you would like to be highlighted on an artist spotlight, hit me up in my email. My email, SamAnt@vhiphopnews.com, is still down. It's dealing with a crazy ass spamming or what's the word I'm looking for? It was a security breach in the main server, so that email is down. Still working on that, but you can hit me up on my secondary email, dlsmediainc@gmail.com. I'll drop that in the chat real quick. dlsmediainc1 at, hold on real quick, my bad, at gmail.com. I'll put that in there. Okay, hit me up on that email right there. If you want to be highlighted on Artist Spotlight, hit me up and we'll set you up. But until next time, till next story, SamAnt, CEO of Viral Hip Hop News, wishing all of you and yours a very happy new year. Let's take 2023 over. Let's continue to drop conscious content, real content for the people. We up out of here. Love each and every one of y'all. Appreciate y'all. Happy New Year. Peace.